I can't express how happy I am to announce that Sonic Frontiers is here and it's actually pretty good. The lead up to this game has been quite the roller coaster. Back in June we got our first gameplay reveal and the game looked like garbage. It looks slow, boring, and the poppin', holy crap, the poppin'. Most people already lost faith, and for a while it was already agreed that Frontiers was just gonna suck. Until Sega basically said, guys, don't worry, it's just an early build of the game. And as the months went by, the game looked better and better with each new trailer. People started getting their first impressions and got to play the game early thanks to gaming events, and the reaction was pretty positive. Now before getting into the game, I want to express the bad position Sonic was in after Forces completely flopped. Sonic sort of died for a little while there, well in terms of games anyway. I mean, we still got the movies and Sonic Prime coming soon to Netflix. But for a long time, it felt like Sonic just died, like Sonic Team gave up. When you had Sonic Generations in 2011, which was good, then 10 years of mediocrity, everything that made me love this series felt absent ever since, well, the Dark Age. Such as awesome rock music, now it's just cheesy believe in yourself you can do anything type music, which isn't all bad. Some of them land like Reach for the Stars and Endless Possibilities, but no more powerful rock music that genuinely hypes you up like Live and Learn or Night of the Wind. Another trend is they just said screw off to the whole Sonic cast, because for a while it was just Sonic and Tails versus Eggman. That was it for a while, and they just gave up trying to tell at least half decent stories. Don't even get me started with Sonic Forces, because I'll end up going on a 2-hour rant. God, I hate that game. My point is, the last 10 years of Sonic games sucked, and Anyway, yeah, the point is that the last 10 years of Sonic games just sucked. That's what I'm getting at. I'm a huge Sonic fan. I like Colors and Generations and Lost World Wii U, but going back to today's subject, before Frontiers released, I decided to marathon every Sonic game I had access to, 2D, 3D, spin-offs, all of them. And it made me remember why and what makes Sonic so important to me. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, it's because I want to shed light on why Sonic Frontiers was such a big deal for me, why I was so excited, and why I had so much faith in it. The reason is because the game looked like it was bringing everything that I loved about Sonic the Hedgehog, the return of other characters who aren't Sonic and Tails or Egg. And yes, I know Forces exist, shut up, but it was bringing back the more serious story, and let me tell you, I miss the anime nonsense that was a Sonic plot. They were bringing back the awesome kick-ass hype rock music, and they came back with a vengeance, holy god. Wait until we talk about the Titan. It was all coming back, as well as the fact that Sonic was going open world, which is something I wanted ever since I was a kid. And then the game released, and it makes me so happy that people are actually enjoying it, and getting good reviews. For the most part, I read that, and it makes me so happy that people are enjoying Sonic Frontiers, and it's getting good reviews for the most part. That's how it's supposed, my line delivery. Anyway, so now it's my turn. I waited 5 long years for this moment, so is the game good? I literally said that at least maybe 5 times, well, anyway, whatever, let's talk about it. Before starting, I do want to say this game is still relatively new, so here's your spoiler warning. A quick editing note, I apologize for earlier I was just kind of cutting myself off by accident. I'll make sure that's not a problem as the video goes on, but anyway, back to your daily schedule, not daily. Back to your regularly scheduled Sonic Frontiers review. So the adventure begins with the prologue animation where Knuckles is exploring his island and helps a child retrieve something it lost under a boulder. After doing this, Knuckles finds an old gear, then discovers some old ruins, older than anything he's seen on Angel Island before. Curious about these ruins, he inserts the gear and it ends up transporting Knuckles to the mysterious Starfall Islands. Here he ends up getting into a fight with a bunch of ancient robots. Unfortunately, this was a battle Knuckles couldn't win. Thus, he ended up getting captured on the Starfall Islands. Meanwhile, Eggman discovered these ancient robots and wants to take control over them, or study. I honestly forgot why Eggman was here, but he ends up getting trapped in another dimension known as cyberspace. Here Eggman has to rely on his new ally Sage, a mysterious girl whose goal is to protect the Starfall Islands as well as Eggman. Now we can move on to our heroes, as Sonic and friends are in search for the Starfall Islands. How many times have I had to say that by now? It looks to look for the Chaos Emeralds, which they for some reason vanished. However, they end up getting transported to cyberspace, but with Sonic's skill and speed, he manages to escape. But unfortunately, his friends weren't so lucky, as now they're stuck in limbo, where there are these weird projections, ghost-like forms. I don't really know. Let's just say they're dead, and Sonic has to race his way to bring them back. In order to do this, he has to defeat these huge robot mechs known as Titans, which Sage is controlling to defeat Sonic. However, it's not to serve Eggman, it's instead to protect everyone, as Sonic is being guided by an AI, like an AI voice or something. It's telling him to tear the wall between... Why did I write this like this? God damn, it's been a year since my last review, so I am very rusty with this way of making videos, so I greatly apologize. Anyways, back on top. Right, so this AI voice is telling Sonic to tear the wall between dimensions, being reality and cyberspace, which the AI is trapped in. So while Sonic thinks he's saving his friends, he's actually putting the world in danger, but instead of Sage just telling Sonic, hey, you blue moron, you're gonna kill us all, she'd rather be as vague as humanly possible. Anyway, the more Sonic races his way through the islands, he saves his friends, except it's causing Sonic to get weaker, because he apparently is being corrupted by this thing called a cyber corruption. The way he's getting infected by this cyber corruption thing is through the way he's saving his friends. The more he saves his friends, the more corrupted he gets, I guess. And by the third island, you can tell how tired Sonic is getting. And by the fourth island, he has to shut down 6 towers and ends up getting more and more corrupted, which leads to a genuinely powerful moment when Sage asks Sonic why he's smiling when he can barely stand, and Sonic just keeps walking, and this moment sums up that Sonic Frontiers is the start of a new era. So many years of Sonic just being a cocky a-hole, to the point where I thought they forgot the entire point of Sonic's character, but here, this cutscene is just awesome. As it shows Sonic's willpower, the fact that he won't stop fighting till his very last dying breath. It's just a really powerful scene and moment that the meta-era games really did not have.
Your cyber corruption is accelerating. How can you smile when you can barely stand?
However, Sonic eventually does end up getting fully corrupted and essentially dies. It is a genuinely really cool moment in the game, and what would have made it even better was if you actually got to play as Tails, Amy, and Knuckles to maybe, you know, save Sonic, kind of like at the end of Sonic 06 where Sonic died and then everyone had to go find the Chaos Emeralds to go save him. Would have been a cool moment, but no, instead it's just dealt with in like less than 2 minutes. Basically, Amy, Tails, and Knuckles does their power of friendship thing and sacrifice themselves, giving Sonic a second chance to team up with Eggman and set things right. Now, I am ignoring the whole Ancients lore, but I guess I'll go into that now. Basically, these chaos-looking creatures are fighting against a very powerful evil entity, and I think basically what happened is they sealed it away in cyberspace, then they ended up getting wiped out. So, yeah, that's basically... I'm not going to go too in-depth with it because this video is probably going to be long enough. So anyway, now that we're reaching the end of the game, basically Eggman just randomly basically says that Sage is his daughter, and with no time to think about the fact that either Eggman made himself a daughter, or someone was crazy enough to give Eggman the sloppy toppy, we're fighting the final Titan. Oh, and a quick side note, no, it is confirmed that, yeah, Sage was created, and Eggman didn't actually do the nitty-gritty with someone, and the thought of that is, yeah, that's gross. Anyway, continue. After defeating it, Sage then takes control of the Titan, and then we blast off into space. What fun. Now, if you do get to this point in hard mode, there's actually a secret final boss where you take control of the Titan, and play an 80s arcade style top-down shooter, sort of like Space Invaders, kind of like that, while the moon literally called The End talks trash about you. I guess the moon got pissed when Eggman shot half of it in SA2. What's cool is how the moon actually drops part of lore and telling Sonic how he's literally fighting The End. And it's really cool when it starts talking about how Sonic has fought robots and literal gods before, but the end is inevitable and stuff. I don't know, it's a dumb shooter segment, but it adds a lot more to the finale. And that's the story, and it's actually pretty good. And what helps is the amazing writing and character arcs. Like how Tails literally makes a point of how his character the last 10 years was just a scared kid who can't do anything without Sonic. Then Tails tells Sonic that he's going on his own to sort of grow up into being his own hero. It's genuinely cute and wholesome. And yes, I did forget to actually play the scene where that happens. Shut up. I love Sonic's rivalry relationship with Knuckles and how far they've come as well, as Sonic always giving the screw me eyes. Like, come on, seriously, look at that face. Look at that face, that friggin' face, Jesus. Another detail that I love is how Sage asks Tails if Tails trusts that Sonic will save the day with his life. Or how Sage sees Sonic and Tails having a wholesome friends moment and then gets all emotional. There's honestly a lot to love here, and is the most expressive and in character these guys has ever been in forever. The writing difference between this game and Forces is like night and day, and I love it. When the characters reference something that happened in an older game, like when Tails talks about how he falls apart whenever there's a crisis and talks about how he felt when Infinite attacked and killed Sonic, I just realized Sonic dies a lot. As a longtime Sonic fan, this was such a joy to experience, and I'm not saying it's some god tier story or it's peak fiction, but it's such a good step up from this crap.
Standing up.
Wow, and how did you come to this well thought out concern?
Whenever there's a crisis, I'm either running away or standing on the sidelines. You're always rescuing me when all I do is follow you around.
Hey, who was it who stopped Eggman from blowing up Station Square, huh? And who broke me out of prison, or saved me from the Deadly Six's trap?
Then I'm wildly inconsistent.
Dude, relax! You've got brains like Eggman, speed like me, and can fly with your butt. It's okay if you still need help sometimes. That's just part of growing up.
The only issue with this is the fact that, you know, newcomers to this game will find this alienating. I mean, obviously, if this is your first Sonic game and Tails says something about Sonic Heroes, you're obviously going to be like, what the hell is he talking about? That's the only problem, but honestly, I don't really mind. It's not like they reference older games like left and right all the time. It's very well spread out, and it's really good stuff. But what about the actual game? Well, let's get into that. So here's the gameplay loop. Collect memory tokens you find around the world to save and talk to your friends. Then collect Portal Gears, did I say Portal? Anyway, by defeating these mini bosses called Guardians. Use those to access cyberspace stages and complete the 4 missions to collect Vault Keys, which are used to unlock the Chaos Emerald, collect the 6 Chaos Emeralds, no not the 7, to access the Titan boss which is holding the 7th Emerald. Defeat the Titan, move on to the next island, rinse and repeat. And this brings us to our first problem. It gets real repetitive, and you really feel it by the 3rd island. And if you just take breaks and not marathon the game, it shouldn't be a huge problem. Certainly not a deal breaker. There certainly are a lot of things to collect that leads to another, and at first it was pretty fun. Reminds me of those 3D collectathon platformers from back in the 90s, like Banjo & Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, etc. But by the end of my second playthrough, it got annoying. Oh yeah, I wanted to replay the beginning of the game because I actually don't know why I'm built different. Then I ended up overwriting my main save file, so within the weekend I got the game. I already beaten it twice. Now normally, that wouldn't be much of a problem because most Sonic games take about 5 to 7 hours to beat, so it wouldn't be too draining, but this adventure took about 20 hours to beat on my first playthrough, and about 15 on my second. I was like taking my time, taking in everything, taking my time. On average, most people beat in like 12, but anyway. Collecting all of these collectibles starts to get pretty tiring, but luckily, Big the Cat of all people is here to save the day. On your travels, you'll come across these purple coins, and if you find these fishing portals that look like cyberspace stage portals, I know I got confused at first too, it'll transport you to Big's fishing pond, and you can use those purple coins to borrow Big's rod and go fishing. Because every new game needs a fishing minigame. The actual minigame isn't all that bad, but it certainly isn't the most in-depth fishing. Everything is scripted. You catch the same fish in the same order and there's no element of surprise. Not like catching a rare fish really matters, it just gets added to your Fishopedia where you can view the fish and a little fact about it. But what makes it all worth it is the fact that you can essentially break the game. Need portal gears? Go fish. Need memory tokens? Go fish. Want to skip the cyberspace stages entirely and get the Chaos Emerald and get the vault keys you need? Go fish. It's so broken that if you really don't want to deal with the collecting BS, you don't have to. Now, I don't recommend you do that, but when it starts to get tiring and you just want to continue, you can. Now, before I go into the open world, I want to talk about cyberspace. So, these are a thing. To be perfectly honest, I didn't really care all that much about the cyberspace stages. They looked fine, fun even, but there's lots of problems. There's about 7, I believe, on the first 3 islands. Yes, not all 5, I'll get to that. And 9 on the 5th island, bringing it to a total of 30 cyberspace stages. Which is awesome. That's the same amount of stages that there was in Forces. And Forces 30 levels include Sonic, the Avatar, and Classic Sonic, and bosses. And there you go, that's the whole game. So yes, you get 30 pure Sonic Boost levels, which sounds great, but in terms of quality, they're about the same as Forces. 1 minute to a minute and a half long levels, and the level design is pretty unremarkable. Actually wait, I take that back. These are better than Forces. The levels borrow level designs from previous Sonic games, like Sonic Adventure 2, Unleashed, Colors, and Generations, respectively. While it sounds lazy at first, seeing how wow, first you guys can't be bothered to make original locations, now you can't be bothered to design new levels, but in reality this makes sense because the premise is that when Sonic goes into cyberspace, he sort of uploads his brain to cyberspace, and this causes him to literally run through his memories. This is also giving that AI voice information on Sonic while fighting the true final boss. He or she, because I don't know the gender, talks about how they saw into Sonic's mind and know Sonic has fought machines and gods before, but that will not help him against the literal end. Anyway, back on topic. An example of this would be like 1-1. It's just Windmill Isle Act 1 from Sonic Unleashed. There's a stage that straight up just is Skyrail from Sonic Adventure 2, and Green Forest from Sonic Adventure 2. It's actually really cool. When me, a diehard Sonic fan, got to play through these for the first time and be like, wait a second, I recognize this. What ruins it all though is the ungodly controls. I don't know what the hell happened, but Sonic feels worse to control than he did in Forces. But since in Forces you boost in a straight line, so you never actually get a feel for the controls, I will never stop crapping on Forces. Wait until I review that at some point. Sonic feels very stiff, and movement just didn't feel good. Things like the homing attack feel slow, almost like an 06, which would even ruin my runtime on some levels. Which is why when I'm speedrunning a stage, I just skip the enemies altogether. This is actually one thing that's worse here than in Forces. At least in Forces, you can spam the homing attack, and it was nice and quick. It was also like that in the adventure games and the other boost games, so I don't know what happened here. Another thing that Forces does better is the air boost. This crap was so overpowered that it broke the game, and you could practically fly, but from Tears, it still gives that upwards arc allowing you to get height and skip little parts of the stage, but it was just so nerfed. One thing that Sonic Team just couldn't seem to get right in 3D Sonic games is how Sonic actually feels. In Sonic Adventure 1, he felt great to control. In Sonic Adventure 2, it wasn't as good, but still fun and great. And his... And this is something that kept declining as the games went on. In Heroes, it was too slippery. In Edgy the Hedgies game, it was way too slippery. And in 06, it was just broken and unresponsive. Wait, no. It was broken and responsive at the same time. I don't know, it was weird. And in Secret Rings, well... motion controls. The Wii version of Unleashed was god-awful. Black Knight once again with those motion controls. And colors felt fine, gens felt fine, Lost World on Wii U I think controlled decently. Yeah, the Wii U. And the Boom games, the less said about Sonic Boom the better. And Forces was just horrible. My point is, why can Sonic Team not get smooth controls down to Frontiers? It's just way too stiff. I genuinely have problems turning a corner, and I swear, when you boost, it's like steering a literal tank while going 800 miles per hour, often leading to a wall or a death. And when speedrunning and going for those S ranks, that's really damn annoying. Especially in 1-2. Holy shit. Was there any good reason as to why 1-2 and 1-2 only was so damn hard and strict? You have to play perfectly, every move has to be on point, and you have to make split-second decisions. It's no less exhilarating than it is difficult, and honestly, I sort of wish there was more levels like this. I kinda love it, actually. When games get really sadistic out of nowhere, and let me reread that. I kinda love it when games get really sadistic out of nowhere, and forces you to get good. You see, I was reading the script and it said Forces, and then I got confused whether I thought I was talking about Sonic Forces again, so I got confused. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, the cyberspace stages as a whole are definitely a nice addition and adds more to the game. Like, I do rather them be here than not, but it shows that the boost formula is getting worse with each game, and it is time to put it to rest. Not really the boost itself, but these traditional Sonic levels really aren't as good as they once were, which is a real shame. Okay, so this game isn't necessarily an open world game. Sega calls it an open zone game. And what that means is you can explore big open environments, but it doesn't have the here's the entire world, go wherever you want feeling. While on this subject, I see so many people complaining that this game is a copy of Breath of the Wild, which is just so untrue. Sure, aesthetically, Frontiers has similarities, and the trailers would lead you to believe this looks like a diet Breath of the Wild, but these games are almost nothing alike. In fact, this game feels more like Mario Odyssey or Banjo-Kazooie more than anything. The 5 islands are the open zones. The 5 islands, or the open zones, as Sega calls them, are just a Sonic-y way of saying sandboxes. They're just the equivalent to Mario Odyssey's kingdoms. You get plopped in one of these big open environments and you just go. In fact, I'll just get this out of the way. Yes, the pop-in is really bad and ugly looking, but honestly, it rarely ever affected my gameplay or enjoyment of the game. Normally, I'd say you guys are whining too much, but I'm not big on the best performance, that 60 FPS, 8K godlike resolution with ultra hyper realistic graphics and absolutely no stuttering. Like, I don't care about that stuff. I played this one on the Switch, for crying out loud. I even bought the Switch version of Sonic Colors Ultimate, and I had little to no issues other than maybe more graphical glitches and glitches as a whole. I mean, that game is or was a broken mess after all, but I still had fun. point is, Poppin' really isn't that big of an issue, and it's just fun to run around. You run around completing these little challenges slash mini puzzles to fill out your map. Once you've completed your map, you unlock fast travel. These challenges are honestly a great little distraction and way of exploring the entire island. It's an absolute blast. It did make me realize how hard it can be to traverse through the Ares and Chaos Islands though. Like, the Ares Island, for example, is filled with mountains and canyons, making it annoying. And the Chaos Island is just filled with too many 2D sections and disconnected mini islands, which actually took me like an hour and a half to 2 hours running around trying to find out how to get to the blue Chaos Emerald. And apparently, I wasn't even the only one who had this problem. But it turns out that there was a rail grinding section that connects the islands, but I didn't see this because of the awful Poppin', which was the first time the Poppin' was actually an issue for me. Getting around the Chaos Emeralds isn't hell or anything, it's just inconvenient. I think I wrote that wrong. Anyway, getting all the Chaos Emeralds isn't hell or anything, it's just inconvenient most of the time, but overall, I think as their first attempt, they did pretty good all things considered. I just wish they went further with the island themes. Kronos Island is a lush grassy playground, Ares Island is a scorching hot desert, and Chaos Island is a chaotic volcano lava type world. Pretty cool all things considered. Can't wait for what the last two islands have in store. You know, maybe a winter wonderland or an autumn fall type area. Logan wanted that one, go check him out by the way. But nope, it's just Kronos Island 2 more times. Now to be fair, the 4th island is just here. Climb 6 of these really tall towers to learn more about the ancients and watch Sonic as he gets corrupted. So fine, whatever. It's not a full island, so I guess you can reuse locations. But the 5th island, which is a full island, is just Kronos again, but bigger. Again, not a big deal, and it's fun to traverse, but it isn't too annoying. It's actually pretty solid and fun. And also, fun fact, Kronos Island, the Towers Island, I don't know what they're called, I forgot, and the 5th island were actually supposed to all be one big connected island as the introduction to the game. But lo and behold, due to time constraints and them rushing Frontiers, they had to split them up and also rework the story a little bit. And you see, this is the problem with rushing games. Honestly, if Sonic Frontiers wasn't rushed, because yes, it is confirmed that Sonic Frontiers was kind of rushed out the door, and I think this is like the one time they rushed a Sonic game and it didn't end up sucking. But still, if Sonic Frontiers got the full time it needed to, I don't know, accomplish whatever ambitions they had in mind, it would have been so much better. Maybe even Game of the Year worthy. Maybe it could have competed with God of War and Elden Ring. Of course, they would probably have to delay the game to like 2023 or something, but still. Oh well, we are getting DLC later next year, which will add new stories and new playable characters. So maybe Sonic Frontiers will reach its true potential then, and maybe with a potential sequel. I don't know, we'll see. But now, the review must go on. Another big new addition is combat. Now, no, Sonic has had combat in his games before, most notably Sonic Unleashed. But with Frontiers, this is easily the best combat that Sonic has ever had. It's fast, it's snappy, and while I don't think this is a very hard game, even on hard mode, it's still beneficial to use and string along combos, and it's fun and satisfying. Sometimes it does get pretty button mashy, but it's still really fun. It's no God of War, Devil May Cry, but it's a great attempt. There's 3 types of enemies in this game. You have small enemies that only take like a homing attack to go down, and then there's mini bosses, aka Guardian. Yeah, haha, Breath of the Wild. Anyways, now these are really fun to fight, well, most of them anyway. There's a big variety of them too, like I don't even remember their names except for Table Dude and Mr. Trail, Mr. Rail, and Tank. Look, their actual names aren't any better. So, yeah. So, Excavator, we meet again. Oh god, it's a tower. Tank? And what the hell, is that a spider? Most of them are fun to fight, though, and they all feel unique except for the reskins like Tower, Excavator, and Red Pillar, or the ninjas. Other than those repeats, they can be similar but still different, keeping things fresh. Only problem is some of them can be jank, especially wait, his name is Asura? But the highlight, I kid you not, the highlight, the thing that pushed me through the Chaos Island was the Titan fights at the end of each island after collecting the 6 Chaos Emeralds, because the Titan holds the 7th. You go up against these giant robots with the most hype and kick-ass music in the entire franchise, my favorite being Wavering. Because you chase him through the island you were just exploring on foot, and Sonic just beats the everlasting crap out of these guys. And oh my lord, oh my god, the music pops off so much, it's crazy. When I got to Wavering, I literally cranked the volume because it was just too good. Like, look at Sonic make a ball out of these rockets and just chucks it back at the Titan. It's just... Or this one where Sonic just grabs the Titan and just spins him around Mario 64 and just chucks him in a mountain. It's awesome. Or in the night fight where Sonic just grabs the sword and... wait, no. Sorry. Where Sonic literally catches the blade and kicks it out of the Titan's hand. Oh my god, it's so good. And then he literally picks up the sword, grabs it, and then uses it to slice him straight in half. And like I said, the music, the friggin' music, oh my god. It's literally peak fiction. I kid you not that these are easily some of my favorite boss fights in the entire series, hell, maybe even gaming in general. They just go so unbelievably hard, it's awesome. Like, oh god, it's too good, it's too good. Like, seriously, the Titan fights were literally just becoming the highlight of the game, and none of them are very hard, like, at all. It's just the spectacle of it all. It's just so damn good and cool. And did I mention the music yet? Because these fights gave me such high hopes for this game's finale. Especially with how well written the story was, I couldn't wait to see what absolute insane hype battle was waiting for me. Finally, something that can top the finale to Sonic Unleashed, because I think Sonic Unleashed has the coolest and most epic final battle in the series. The sheer intensity of it all, the stakes, and the music, and I am very sad to say that Frontiers did not even come close. I was very disappointed with this final boss because the first phase was just a more difficult reskin of Giganto from the start of the game, except this Titan named Supreme has jet thrusters and on his back and a xenomorph looking face. Seriously, what the? Oh, and he has a rifle for some reason. Well, after beating him, Sage tells us we only chase it out of his shell, meaning, oh hell yeah, there's more and it's in space. And I was expecting some massive epic showdown in space, Sonic Adventure 2 style. Like maybe we will switch between Sonic and the Titan. Now that would be amazing, but no. If you play a normal, all you get is a quick time event, where Sonic takes down a giant meteor named The End. Pretty sure I already talked about that. But anyways, Sonic wasn't enough, then Sage sacrifices herself to stop it and tells Sonic to look after Father, aka Daddy Eggman. And the day is saved, Sonic's friends are saved. Sonic says absolutely nothing about Sage's sacrifice, not even a thank you or a rest in peace. Didn't even like break the bad news to Daddy Eggman. Eggman is just forced to mourn alone. Sonic's such a dick. And credits roll. However, if you play on hard mode, you get a secret final boss. It's Space Invaders. They took the flipping hacking mini game and said, yep, secret final boss. It was just so underwhelming, and I don't hate it. It adds more to the finale, and it's still fun, just unexpected and disappointing. At least the music here is absolutely phenomenal. Anyways, speaking of music, the soundtrack was another disappointing aspect of this game. The highlight is without a doubt the vocal tracks, and this game has a whopping 6 of them. The main theme, I'm Here, the 3 Titan boss themes being Undefeatable, Break Through It All, and Find Your Flame. All really amazing tracks, in fact my new favorite in the entire series. The 3 credit themes being Dear Father, One Way Dream, and Vandalize, and these songs hit different. For the last little... wait, what? Hold on. Okay, alright, sorry about that. And these songs hit different. For the last little over a decade, songs have leaned more into being inspiring, cheesy songs about not giving up, believing in yourself, and all those themes. While they're still good and their cheese adds to their charm, we miss the hype rock music that's always associated with Sonic. Songs like Open Your Heart, Live and Learn, City Escape, Night of the Wind, all those, and yes, songs like Endless Possibilities, Reach for the Stars, and yes, even Fist Bump, all great songs, but wait, hold on. But we missed the hype rock music that would pump us up and really rope us into this world. There's a reason why Live and Learn is such an iconic song within the fanbase. It left an impact, and they bring all this back in, yes. What is this writing? Oh man, I really gotta revise my script next time. Ugh, anyway. Where was I? When they bring this back, yes, One Way Dream is your inspirational song, but others like I'm Here and the Titan themes, now those are bangers, the definition of hype. And matching the game's more serious tone, it's great stuff, and the atmospheric tracks are no slouch either. And big lo-fi fishing vibes, real good stuff. Then there's the cyberspace tracks. These are filled with EDM and dubstep music, and I don't know why this has become a thing since Sonic Forces, I want to say. And it's not all bad, overabundance of... It's not all bad, and the overabundance of synth just starts to get grating. This soundtrack is far from bad. In fact, if I were to put it in a tier list, I'd give it a good mid to low B. Who knows, maybe it'll grow on me or pull a Forces where the soundtrack grew on me like 5 years later, I don't know. Other stuff like presentation and stuff you already know by now, yes, this game's popping is bad, but overall, graphically, it breaks the record of best looking Sonic. What? Best looking Sonic game. Eat shit unleashed. But the major question is this game good, and can I recommend it? Well, if you've been listening, in my opinion, yeah, it's a good game, great even. And I understand I'm such a big fan of this series that I'd enjoy it regardless, but I can still critique a Sonic game based on flaws and review it as a game. I didn't enjoy the game because I'm a die-hard Sonic fan who will suck off every new Sonic game. No, I enjoyed it because it was an honest-to-God fun experience, and we're not pitching a perfect game here. It has flaws and problems, it can sometimes be jank, physics are off, I didn't fall in love with this game. I don't think it'll be coming close to Breath of the Wild anytime soon, but it's not coming close to Breath of the Wild anytime soon, but it doesn't need to be compared to other games. I see so many people say this game is garbage compared to Mario and Zelda or whatever. The case is, or whatever the case is, the Sonic team wasn't trying to compete against those two. They just wanted to put out a new Sonic game, and they wanted it to at least get good reviews. And sure, it has like a 72, maybe a 73 on Metacritic, but the reviews are still mostly positive, and yes, this is possibly the most divisive Sonic game yet, with people saying it's the greatest Sonic game ever, while others completely hate it. And yeah, it's a video game. There will be always people who like and dislike a game. There's no such thing as a pure perfection. It's all personal preferences. But there's no such... But all things considered, Sonic Frontiers at least tried, and in most areas it was a swing and a hit, with a few misses. It's a bold, confident game that puts its best foot forward, and I think the best way to describe this game is it's a big step in the right direction, and Sega did state that they were aiming for high review scores, so I guess they just didn't care the last 10 years. That's nice, but they're actively trying to bring this franchise back to the top, and I'm here for it. In fact, the song One Way Dream, which plays in the credits after beating the game on hard, talks about looking into the bright future, learning from the past, Anyways, I'll let the lyrics speak for themselves. Turbulence won't stop us, we'll keep pulling through. Challenges life throws our way, make us even stronger today. Boost your spirit off the ground, I'm a spark that won't go out. We can go much higher now. We're only at the beginning of this one-way dream, ignite dreams to life. They said we'd break, they said we'd lose, but here we are, what else is new? Stronger with every fall, faster with every mile. You and me were built on trust, that's why we can always get up. Even if they laugh, we'll never bite the dust. Why am I telling you this? Well, it's because it was confirmed that this song is actually a direct message from Sonic Team to us. And when you consider that this song has a whole new meaning, it talks about how no matter how many times this series fails, no matter how many hits Sonic takes, and no matter how fast you run, he's unkillable. No, jokes aside, this is just beautiful. Clearly showing that Sonic Team wants to bring this series back to the top, and they seem to have big ambitions and high hopes for the future of Sonic the Hedgehog. And after 06, boom, bad game after bad game. When this is any other series, it would have been dead by now, but Sonic Team gets back up every time, and tries again, miss after miss, they won't give up, and that's just inspiring. Sonic truly is a spark that won't go out, and look at the fans. Say what you want about the Sonic fanbase, but some of the fans genuinely love this franchise and want to see it succeed. So much so that they make their own games. Look at Sonic Mania. That game was actually made by a bunch of fans and published by Sega. And it was universally acclaimed and deemed as one of the, if not the best Sonic game. Now that is love and passion right there. And another fun fact is because all of the failures, so many different Sonic films want drastically different things. So with Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Team said, screw the fans, let's make something we actually want. And look at that, it did well. Really goes to show that when you do something, you gotta put your best foot forward. And do something you love doing, no matter what it may be, because the best projects are always the passion projects. Sonic Frontiers is more like an experiment than anything, but Sonic Team said that this will be the template for 30 Sonic games going forward. And I'm excited for the future, because if that's the case, then they can take everything that worked in Frontiers and refine it and make it the best it can be. And that's all I want. I've loved this series for as long as I remember, and I care so much about it, and I'm very passionate for it. I want to see it succeed. I want Sonic to be the best he can be, and I know you all probably think, it's a video game series about a dumb blue rat. Why do you care so much? Because it's important to me, and special to me. And passion and love can go a long way. That's why I even wanted to make this video. When this game was shown off back in June, despite it looking awful, I still had hope. So I went and marathoned every Sonic game I had access to. Whether it's 2D, 3D, racing spin-off, or sports spin-off, the only big ones I had to skip were Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, and by doing this, I didn't come to a big conclusion or anything. I didn't realize how good or bad this franchise truly was. All I saw was why I loved this series so much. The adventures, the characters, the cheesiness of it all. I mean, Sonic successfully made the whole power of friendship thing an actual entertaining and worthwhile message without coming off cringy, cheesy, whatever. But it was part of the charm. As I played through this franchise's highs and lows, it brought me back to simpler times. So with all that being said, the takeaway is, don't be afraid of making mistakes or screwing up royally. Also, the more important takeaway is, good Sonic game, and all that's left for us Sonic fans is Sonic Prime, so that'll be fun. Also, I really hope Sonic Team doesn't build up all this hype and hope and optimism just to screw up the next game. So, is Sonic Frontiers worth your time and money? Well, to be honest, yeah. Now, the one interesting thing about Sonic Frontiers is that it is a full-priced game. Yeah, a full-price Sonic games. Also, well, actually, apparently the PS5 version was like reduced to $40. I don't know. I heard, but where I live, it's still still $79.99, so $91 total. You know, but everywhere else, I believe it's full price games are like 60 plus tax. So yeah, a full price Sonic game. I don't think that's been a thing since Sonic 06, so it's been a long time. That's what makes it so jarring. But anyway, yeah, is this game worth $60? Well, I mean, if you're willing to buy games like Mario Strikers Battle League or Nintendo Switch Sports or even Miitopia, then I see no problem with buying Sonic Frontiers. Yeah, that's right, I'm firing shots at Nintendo. The thing with Nintendo is that they like to release their unfinished games and then update them later. And by that they actually mean like give those games 3 updates and then say, yeah, we're done. Now I'm not gonna make a whole segment of this video just crapping on Nintendo, but like all I'm saying is that if you're willing to pay full price for those games, then you should have no problem buying Sonic Frontiers. But if you're obviously a lot more smart with your money and you only want to sink your money to something you actually will think you enjoy, then if you enjoy games like definitely just open-ended games, I think you'll enjoy this one. It's again not perfect, obviously, but I still think it's well worth your time, and you will get your money's worth. The main campaign on a casual run may take like 12 plus hours, which is also a first for Sonic because, well, you know, most Sonic games are pretty short. And it's also extremely replayable. I mean, I myself already beat it twice. I'm actually working on a 3rd playthrough. So I'm going to be beating this game 3 times, and the game's only been out for what? Almost a month? So yeah, it's very replayable. Like, each of the 3 times I replayed the game, I still had just as much fun as I did the first. Okay, I think I had a little more fun the first time just because everything was new to me. But it's still a really replayable game, and it's even fun to 100%, and it's not too taxing. So I would recommend Sonic Frontiers, and I'm very hopeful for the future. And with that being said, yeah, that wraps up this video. Now, I know that a year ago in my Rider Zero Gravity video, I said I was going to be reviewing Mario Galaxy. No one really cares. People are just going to watch the first like 2 minutes of this video, and they won't even make it to halfway, so most people won't even be here to hear this. But in the rare chance that they do, yeah, I did have plans to review Sonic Galaxy. I did have plans to review Super Mario Galaxy, and I still do. It's just that, not now. Actually, speaking of Mario, the Mario movie's coming out, and I am tired of waiting for Nintendo to announce a new big 3D Mario game, so I think now is a better time, the best time to marathon Mario. I mean, like, I'm not going to do a review marathon, I'm just going to marathon Mario games on my own time, just for fun. So I'm going to go do that. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. I don't know with what, but preferably not Sonic, because I've already done my first 3 reviews on Sonic. So, or 4, I forgot, Secret Rings. Yeah, that one was bad. But anyway, yeah, so the next time I do a review, preferably it's not going to be on Sonic, so I'll see you all next time. Peace, have a good day, good night, good evening, whatever time it is. Oh yeah, and it's December, so Merry Christmas or whatever it is you celebrate. Hope all is well, and I'll see you all next time.